Well, the nightmare is finally over. Would you believe that I watched every minute of that game today? Ugh. So, you're watching the game. I'm watching the game today, and I'm painting the picture of what I'm about to watch. I'm about to see two teams who are mathematic. They're eliminated. They're playing for technically nothing. It's all about pride. Um, you know, last game of the year. Going to be done playing football for a little while. So what did I want to see? I wanted to see the Giants team, have a lot of fight, have a lot of determination, care about winning a ball game. And maybe you could argue that the defense did today, right? Maybe you could argue that the defense showed a little bit of pride, although they're not going against a great Washington offense by any means. But the Giants' offense, about as bad as you're ever going to see it. I mean, everyone talked. I mean, the two QB sneaks, right? I mean, obviously, just what is that? Kenny Galladay, right? The big, Jake Fromm leads him down the field, with what looks to be a nice pass. You got a number one receiver, and you can tell. Are you going to tell me that this team and some of these players haven't quit on Joe Judge? Because if you haven't quit on Joe Judge or the team, then you're going to lay out and make that play like any other number one receiver would in the National Football League. Hopefully today was the last game for several members of the New York Football Giants. Evan Ingram. Which, by the way, let me say this about Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram is a long list of people who is a part of this Giants roster who I'm sure will go other places and do great things. It would just be fitting at this point. You just hate to watch your favorite team, franchise, whatever, and the last game of the year, you've got this just awful empty stadium. Nobody cares. It's so bad that even your rivals don't even care about you, right? It's just the worst of the worst. It's awful. I hope today was the last game Joe Judge will be coaching the New York Football Giants. I don't know how anybody could honestly look at that product and say, yeah, he's a guy that can get this thing right. Because I have watched several teams in the National Football League the last few weeks who have had players off the roster due to COVID, players that are hurt, and you have coaches on these teams drawing up game plans and strategies that are helping them compete and win in these games. And our coach and our coaching staff cannot do that right now. And yeah, I get it. Jake Fromm is out there quarterbacking, right? But you still got Kenny Golladay, Darius Slayton, Evan Ingram, Saquon Barkley. You still got plenty of members on the offensive side of the ball to draw up something, to do some type of something. And just to show how stupid it is, on a 4th and 1 early in the game, you do a receiver end around with Bachman, who doesn't get blocked well. It's a terrible play call, but that you go to him of all the players that you got on the roster to make a play. You've paid big. You go to fucking nothing. I said to you guys, if you wanted to move on from Jason Garrett, that was fine. But once you go around pointing the finger and playing the blame game, then that means you have, and then that happens, you have nobody to blame now but yourself. And since you fired Jason Garrett, and since you moved on from Jason Garrett, you've gotten worse. And not one game, listen to me carefully, not one game did the Giants play without Jason Garrett as the offensive coordinator, who, yes, was not great, but not one game did they offensively play well after his firing. So that tells me that they didn't get it. They didn't have a plan to get it fixed. He was never the problem. That was just a scapegoat. And it ended up that he probably was actually helping us perform at some level. This whole thing needs to be wiped clean. All of it. I'm going to do another video at some point this week, maybe tomorrow, which is going to talk more about this season and whatnot, but I wanted to try to keep today about today. But my God, how do you watch today's game and not, maybe if you own the Giants, if you have any say in what happens with the Giants, how do you watch today's game and think that keeping over 50% of any of the players is a good idea? Like, I don't know how. Are there pieces that to the team that the Giants can build on? Absolutely. There absolutely is. There's just not a lot of them. And that's what's frustrating. And so I'm glad all this shit is over with. 4-13 is miserable. It's pathetic. It's sad. You know, another year is over with. It's hard to believe. But thank goodness it's over with.